You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 8th meeting of the Michiana Shores Town Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, I will ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll get our meeting started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to get started with the roll call. I will do the roll call because Joan is still busy finishing something up. Okay, obviously I'm here. Samantha Arnold. Present. Rob Box.
Present.
Sam Paxton.
Present.
Rich Young.
Here.
Okay, Joe Lewis is here, you know. Attorney Badamski.
Here.
Gary Bendix is absent. Police Chief Mark Swistek.
Present.
Thank you. Gene Paxton. Here. Thank you. Matt Bowen. Nope. Code Enforcement Officer Brian Alexander. Here. Thank you. Andrew Bertocchini. 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 There you go. Bertocchini. Okay. Okay, I have to remember Bear. Okay, Plan Commission. President Isaac Zeckel. No. Unless he joins us up on the thing. Website and Technology, Samantha Arnold. Also here. Okay, and Road Commissioner Vasilkowski. Did I get the? Yeah, I did. Got everybody else. Okay. All right, John, I'll pass those along to you and you know, to check off. Let's move into adopting the meeting agenda. Council members, have you had a chance to look over the agenda? Let me know if there's anything else you want us to add. Joan wrote down the question marks for those that are, check marks for those that are here. Any comments or questions? Did you want anything to add?
I have no additions.
Okay. Sam, you're good? Samantha? Yeah. Okay. Rich? Nothing? Okay, thank you. All right, in that case, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make the motion to
Okay.
approve the agenda.
Okay, Ron Fox has moved to approve the revised meeting agenda. I need a second.
Second.
Sam Paxton seconds. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's 5 ayes, I think. All right, and the agenda has been adopted. Now, Joan was not able to get the minutes out to us. You know, earlier, I know that she sent out some earlier, right now, within the last half hour or so, but has anybody had a chance to read the minutes? I know that I have not.
No.
I don't.
Okay. Okay. All right, then I will make a motion or ask for motion that we put the minutes off until the May meeting.
That's probably a good idea.
Let's take
We'll
the minutes
spend
until
quite a
then.
bit of time trying
Yeah.
to go through it tonight. So
Okay.
I'll make a motion to
Table till?
table the reading of the minutes, or approval of the minutes until May.
Okay, take one day.
May.
Okay.
I second that motion.
All right, Ralph Fox has made a motion to table the approval of the minutes to the May meeting. Samantha Arnold has seconded that motion. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so those minutes have been tabled until the May meeting. Reports from committees, officers, clerk treasurer. So the only thing we have under here right now is the clerk treasurer. Joan,
Yes.
it is all yours.
I've had problems with the computer as far as getting these mailed out to you earlier, but what I'm giving you is all the bills that we had for this month.
Okay. So this is March 31st payroll.
That's what you could have, the March 31st payroll.
Okay, and then,
And you should have the payroll taxes for March, and you should have the vouchers for April 8th. I do not have the signature pages for you.
okay, well, we'll have to get those later then too. Now, I have a March 11th vouchers here. Pardon? And then we have April 8th vouchers in front of us here.
You should
There are
have
three
April
documents.
8th for, pardon?
And there's three documents that we received. One of them is the March 31st payroll taxes. The next one is over on the top, it says March 11th, but you have written in by hand April 8th,
Right.
April 8th, 25, and I believe it is the exact same sum that is listed on this, okay. The other form says March 11th. Should this one also say April 8th?
It
This
probably
says
should.
March 11th.
We start in around the middle of the month to get these posted, and when we go ahead and, when I was printing it today, it was printing the March date that we started to post our
Okay, but all the dates listed here say March 7th. In this corner, all of these say March 7th. And then the one on the top is March 11th. So I'm not sure.
That's not the right one.
Then, okay, so then we cannot do anything about these vouchers at that point.
You can for the payroll ones.
Okay, check date, now there are checks that were written, and all the checks written are listed at 3/14. So, checks paid, okay? The date on the
Those
right-hand
are all
side.
paid.
Yes, I understand, but is this then, are we to consider this?
No,
The April 8th, this is the wrong sheet, okay, fine, so. All right, so did you also say that the payroll should be on one of these documents?
That's the first one.
you
That's
should
the
have one
taxes.
that has payroll taxes, and you should have one that says payroll.
No,
No, we
Just
only
have the
one
payroll
that says
taxes.
payroll taxes.
We don't have the payroll.
That's interesting, because I printed them all together.
Well, but that's what we have. So we set aside the one that had the larger sum, that was the wrong one that's printed. Then we have the payroll taxes. And the next,
You should have payroll taxes of amount of $450.78.
Yes.
yes, we have that.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to approve the payroll taxes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ralph Box moves to approve. I need a second to approve these payroll taxes.
Almost.
Rich Young, seconds. All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. That is 5 ayes. Did you say aye or no? Oh, aye. Okay, thank you. 5 ayes. And that, the payroll taxes from March 31st has been approved. Now, the sum on this page that says 4825 lists, I'm looking at the amounts.
Well, one is the detail and one is the summary.
Yes,
This is the exact same.
They are, but they're just stated.
So all these
The document, yeah.
legal are combined into one legal entry on the 4/8.
That's what, yes.
Okay,
from what I can
receive.
put.
Yes. But these are the ones from March.
Yeah, that's the
And
same.
some of them's gonna
So
have,
it's
Same
all the
amounts.
But see, Joan said, this sheet that lists, this is the total of everything that's listed on this sheet. And she says, this is the wrong sheet.
Oh,
Okay, so that means even this sheet then is in,
Correct.
you should have the 26,000 for,
no, we do not.
that's the one. I
Okay,
was-
so then this is also correct, right? Okay.
we'll just have to,
We have to table, the approval of these vouchers then until the next. Okay,
Here's the correct sheet,
okay, this is,
and I don't have, so.
no, Joan, this is the same one, it's the same one you gave us. This is March 11th, and it's exactly the same one you gave us here. And the dates listed are the date filed, and then the date, for final is the 7th of March, and then the check date is listed as the 14th of March. On these.
Yeah, the date it's filed is the date it went into the computer.
Okay, well, that's fine, but I'm just saying that those are the dates that appear here, and it says March 11th vouchers.
Okay, do you
So,
want to wait till next month?
we can,
I think we should.
We should, to do that, thank you, Ralph. So let us then take a motion to table these until next month. So we will have then, we're tabling the payroll of April, for the April 11th meeting, or April 8th meeting. to next month, and we're all, is that correct? Or is that
That's a March 31st.
March 31st payroll, okay. March 31st payroll is being tabled until next month, so I need a voucher on that. I have a voucher, I need a motion on that.
I'll make the motion to table
All right,
the payroll for March.
okay, payroll.
Just the payroll, you're not gonna,
Pardon?
just the payroll he's talking.
Yes, the payroll, because we've already approved the payroll taxes. And then we will separately do the vouchers for April 8th.
You need a motion, or you need a second
Yes.
to the motion first.
Okay, now we need a second for that payroll.
I second.
Okay, Samantha Arnold. I need,
Ralph did the first.
Ralph made the motion, Samantha Arnold seconded it. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's 5 ayes. And now the vouchers for, not, yeah, for the
April vouchers.
April vouchers. Okay, April vouchers for the April 8th meeting. April 8th meeting. I also need a motion to table. Anybody? Okay. All right,
Second
Michiana.
that.
Okay, Ralph Fox seconds. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, 5 ayes. Okay, and these vouchers have been, the 2 sets of vouchers have been tabled. All right, then, did you have anything else for us right now, Joan, under your reports?
I did send some stuff to you on redistricting. Voters redistricting.
Voters, or is that the council members redistricting?
That's a, no, it's,
Because we no longer have districts here, we are at large,
well,
so that really doesn't apply to us.
so you don't have to do anything?
I don't think, Attorney
My question is, do we
Bransky?
have to certify? I sent an email asking it, yeah, we're at large, so I don't
Get
know if
that.
we can certify it. But, you can, it was not clear from the
Yeah,
brief
right.
review of the website and some of
That's
that.
all that I got. I just passed along what I,
But we could put that under a new business item.
Yeah,
Take it under
sure.
consideration.
Yeah, the notice was that the one-time extension, all local governments that were required to redistrict their councils by the end of 2022 that had not done so. But you're saying you haven't had districts?
No. No, it was changed by
they
ordinance.
changed.
We changed it in
Oh, this is,
2 elections ago?
I'll look at it,
Please.
confirm it, but it says if you have to do it by June 30th, 2025.
okay, so we have,
Right, but
We're good.
I'll confirm.
Yeah,
with
I
that.
think,
was like
the only thing
17 or 18
it sounded like maybe you have to do whatever recertifying if you're not districting this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so,
I thought we were required to do that.
to certify?
No, to originally, that we weren't given a choice to move to the system that we use now.
The plan
The
commission,
state is
this is,
required.
there, a lot of discussions took place back then, you know, on doing that. So this took place before I was ever on the council, but I know that it originated, first of all, I believe in the plan commission they started. It was brought up here, they asked the plan commission to discuss and to make a determination or recommendation. They did that, and then the votes took place in the town council, right, Rich? You remember that? You know, when we went from the 5 districts to, and that all town council members would be at large.
Do I remember what?
No, that the discussions and voting for it. And that was, I just don't remember what year that took place. We'd have to look through the minutes.
More than 6 years ago, I didn't think that much.
Always, it is more than 6 years ago, sure. Oh, yeah. So I don't know, maybe, because, you know, time goes by so
We can-
fast.
We'll put it under new business.
Okay, for next
back.
for next year.
Yeah.
The next one.
For next, I mean, for the next month, we could discuss, you know, as,
Okay.
all right, so, let's see. It's not,
If I get a quicker answer, I'll send it by email.
thank you very much, okay. Next month, okay. All right, let us move on now to resolutions and ordinances, and I have listed the tree ordinance here. So, Sam, do you want to take it from here and give a report on what's taking place?
Sure. The last plan commission meeting, the commission voted in favor of adopting and recommending the Town of Michiana Shores ordinance regarding comprehensive tree ordinance. And it's now upon the town council to make a determination if they want to move forward and create an ordinance. And I guess that's it.
Okay. Now, Joan, have you received from the Plan Commission Secretary the signed document of certification? Kara Scholler.
I just got something today, but I haven't had time to,
I know that she sent an email on it. She completed the paperwork she needed to
yeah,
do.
I got it
Okay.
about noon.
Okay, so yes, the plan, because I got a copy of that, email. So the Advisory Plan Commission Secretary did sign the certification form and sent it through to Joan that the Plan Commission makes the recommendation that the town council accept the tree ordinance. So at this point, we would have to go through a reading of the ordinance so that the public can hear what we are saying. Are you prepared to read that for us?
So there could be a motion to adopt by title only or to read by title only.
We've never read it here yet, so is that appropriate?
If there's unanimous consent to it, that's,
Okay.
At some point in time, it has to be read.
it's been read at the Plan Commission meetings, has it
And it
not?
was a public hearing, so.
I think a
Attorney
lawyer
Nancy.
has.
We're going to listen to Attorney Nancy, okay, for his recommendation.
And it has been read at the Plan Commission meetings
Yes.
At
in its
the,
entirety.
yes,
And that Plan Commission made the motion, adopted the motion to advise this town council to approve it. Has it been posted publicly?
Yes.
yes, it was.
Then if the board.
I'm fine with reading it. It's not a big deal.
It's your discretion.
Go for it.
All right, I'll read it. Town of Michiana Shores Ordinance 2025-X at this point. An ordinance amending the tree ordinance to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare of the town of Michiana Shores while promoting the beauty and heritage of the town's trees and shrubbery for the town of Michiana Shores, Indiana. The Town Code of the Town of Michiana Shores, Title III, Public Health, Safety and Welfare, Article 1, General Regulations, Chapter 3, Cutting of trees shall be replaced in its entirety by the following. Chapter 13, Comprehensive Tree Ordinance. Section 3113.1, Application of Chapter. Section 3113.2, Purpose. Section 3113.3, Definitions. Sections 3113.4, Unimproved/vacant lots. Section 3113.5, improved lots. Section 3113.6, new construction and remodeling. Section 3113.7, maintenance of trees and/or vegetation. Section 3113.8, permit requirement. 3113-9, administration of ordinance. 3113.10, violations. 3113.11, penalties. 3113.12, remedies. 3113.13, appeals. Section 3113.1, application of chapter. The provisions of this chapter shall apply to the town of Michiana Shores, LaPorte County, Indiana. Section 3113.2, purpose. Whereas the town council desires to protect the public health, safety, and general welfare of the town of Michiana Shores, Indiana, while promoting the beauty and heritage of the town's trees and shrubbery, which is considered a vital resource and asset to the town's continued beauty and attraction to residents and visitors alike. Preservation of existing trees, protection of the ecological environment of the town by deterring unwarranted clearing of land and existing vegetation, the planting of native trees, protection of public health and safety through proper planting and maintenance of trees and vegetation on private and public lands, recognition of the importance of protecting the natural environment of the town of Michiana Shores for future generations. Section 3113-3, definitions. A, vacant lot is defined not to include lots of record adjoining and adjacent to the lots or lots containing containing the residence of the common owner. B, improved lot, a lot with a residential structure. C, desirable tree, individual trees that display one or more notable desirable traits in keeping with the native species of the critical dune area in northwest Indiana and southwest Michigan. An official list will be maintained on the town website. D, invasive species, trees that are non-native to the state of Indiana and the state of Michigan. An official list will be maintained on the town website. E, replacement tree, a new desirable tree that will be added to the property if an existing desirable tree is removed during construction. F, property easement, an authorization grant made by a property owner for use by another of any designated part of his property for a clearly specified purpose and officially recorded. G, heavy equipment, a heavy-duty vehicle used for construction and earth-moving tasks. H, tree plan, a document submitted to the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer by the property owner that includes a detailed description of proposed changes to the lot, including any desirable trees being removed from the property and the future replacement tree plan. I, hazardous tree, any tree or limb thereof that has an infectious disease or insect, is dead or dying, obstructs the view of traffic signs or the free passage of pedestrians or vehicles, or threatens public health, safety, and welfare. Section 3113-4, unimproved/vacant lots. A, no tree or trees on vacant lots are to be cut down, destroyed, damaged, or in any manner removed without a prior approved building plan permit, or in the alternative, a separate permit may be obtained for routine tree maintenance on vacant lots from the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer. Such a permit will be granted at the discretion of the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer. B, owners of vacant lots are prohibited from cutting, destroying, or otherwise removing any desirable tree by any means on the subject property without having first applied for a permit to remove desirable tree or trees and received formal written approval by the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer. C, any approved permit requires the trees to be hand cut with saws, chain or other hand-operated saws, and not heavy equipment, bulldozers, backhoes, or other similar equipment. If the property owner wants to use heavy equipment to remove trees, they must submit an explanation of why it is desired in their application. The building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer will consider this in their decision. D, if the intent of the removal of trees is related to a formal building permit to construct a residence, the application for removal of trees must be submitted to the town with a formal application submission for a building permit. See section 313-6 for complete details. E, owners of vacant lots must submit an application to remove trees to the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer for review. The submission of the application must include a complete tree plan that includes photos, drawings, and an explanation of the reasons for the permit request. F, the submitted plan should also include a plan to plant new replacement trees on the subject property. The replacement tree must not include those species considered to be invasive as found in the definitions of invasive species found in section 3-13-3. The new trees planted must have a minimum 2-inch diameter trunk as measured 5 feet from the ground and not be considered an invasive species. G, exceptions to the permit requirement will be granted for the removal of a tree or trees that are dead, diseased, or damaged and threaten to cause immediate harm to people, improve structures or neighboring properties or town-owned property. The property owner must verifiably attempt to contact the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer or a member of the town council to obtain emergency approval. H, failure to comply with these regulations shall result in a penalty of $1,000 for each tree removed without a permit. Section 3-1-13-5, improved lots. A, owners of improved lots may remove invasive species trees as deemed necessary and desired at their own discretions. Owners may also remove any other desirable tree at their discretion, but are encouraged to plant a replacement desirable tree for each tree removed. This will help to preserve the beauty that adds to the town's desirability as a natural setting in which to reside. No tree removal permit is required in this situation. B, the replacement trees or trees must not include those species considered to be invasive as found in the definitions of invasive species found in section 3-1-13-3. The new trees planted must have a minimum 2-inch diameter trunk as measured 5 feet from the ground and should not be considered an invasive species. Section 3-1-13-6, new construction and remodeling. A, owners of a vacant lot submitting a formal application to the town for a building permit, or owners of an improved lot submitting a formal application to the town for a building permit to remodel an existing structure in which the removal of desirable trees will be required, must obtain a tree permit by submitting the tree removal permit application with the application for the building permit. B, replacement of all removed trees with a desirable tree or trees is required. If the property owner has reasons to not plant replacement tree or trees, it needs to be stated on the permit application. The replacement tree or trees must not include those species considered to be invasive as found in the definitions of invasive species as described in section 3-13-3. The new trees planted must have a minimum 2-inch diameter trunk as measured 5 feet above the ground and not be considered invasive species. D, failure to comply with these regulations shall result in a penalty of $1,000 for each tree removed without a permit, or the failure to plant the desirable trees that were required as part of the tree removal application approval. Section 3-1-13-7, maintenance of trees and/or vegetation. Owners of both vacant and improved properties are responsible for the property maintenance of all trees and/or vegetation on the entire property, including the property easement. All property owners are subject to the rules and regulations about maintaining their property as found in the Town of Michiana Shores Municipal Code Title II, Article 2, Chapter 3, Section 2-2-3-8F, and Sections 2-2-3-8G of the Town Code 2021-2021-02 concerning the clearance required at our street corners and other areas adjacent to the roadways. C, at the town's discretion, a tree or trees located on the owner's subject property may be deemed a hazardous tree by the town code enforcement officer and/or third-party tree service professional hired by the town. Upon this designation of hazardous tree, the town shall formally notify the subject property owner. The owners are encouraged to take action to remediate the situation, to remove or perform maintenance on the subject hazardous tree or trees. The town will not mandate or perform said removal or maintenance. Should the hazardous tree or trees subsequently cause damage to the subject property, neighboring properties, or town property, the subject property owner shall take full financial and/or legal responsibility. If the hazardous tree or trees fall into the public right-of-way, the town may take action to remove the fallen debris off the public right-of-way. The subject property owner will be financially responsible for the complete removal of the fallen tree debris from the subject owner's property easement. D, failure of the subject property owner to remove the fallen hazardous tree debris may result in a nuisance property action against the owners as found in Title III, Article 1, Chapter 12. Section 3-1-13-8, permit requirement. It is required that before any trees are removed from a lot as described in Section 3-1-13-4 and 3-1-13-6, an approved tree permit is required. The property owner must contact the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer or a member of the town council to obtain emergency approval if necessary per section 3113.4, paragraph G. Section 3113.9, administration of ordinance. The building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer or their designee is the administrative record for all applications related to tree permits. Section 3113.10, violations. It shall be unlawful for any person, firm, or corporation, either as owner, lessee, sublessee, or occupant to act in any way prohibited by sections 3113.4, 3113.5, or 3113.6 above in the town of Michiana Shores, Indiana, or cause or permit the same to be done contrary to or in violation of the provisions of this code. Section 3113.11, penalties. There will be a penalty of $1,000 for each tree cut down, destroyed, damaged, or removed without a permit. Further, any tree or trees removed due to any of the prescribed acts may require adequate replacement. Failure to plant agreed upon replacement trees shall be subject to this fine. Such a determination will be at the discretion of the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer. Section 3113-12, remedies. The building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer shall, in the name of the town of Michiana Shores, Indiana, bring actions in the Superior or Circuit Courts of LaPorte County, Indiana, for mandatory or injunctive relief in the enforcement of and to secure compliance with any order or orders made by the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer, and any such action for mandatory or injunctive relief shall be without bond and may be joined with an action to recover the penalties provided for in this code. Section 3113.13, appeals. Whereas the appeal procedures for denied building plan permits are codified in section 3110.19, all persons shall have the right to appeal decisions of the building commissioner and/or the code enforcement officer made pursuant to this chapter but not covered in section 3110.19 to the town council of the town of Michiana Shores, provide a written appeal, protest, or other request for review is timely filed with the clerk treasurer within 15 days of first receiving the adverse decision. Now, therefore, it is hereby ordained and enacted by the town council of the town of Michiana Shores, LaPorte County, Indiana, as follows. Repeal provision. All prior ordinances or resolutions or parts thereof inconsistent with any of the provisions of this ordinance are hereby repealed. Severability clause. If any section, clause, provision, or portion of this resolution is deemed to be invalid or unconstitutional by a court of competent jurisdiction, such provision shall not affect any other section, clause, provision, or portion of this ordinance. Passed and adopted by the Town Council of the Town of Michiana Shores, County of LaPorte, Indiana, this 8th day of April 2025.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Council members, do you have any questions or comments?
This may be a little question. We had some tree ordinances and tree stuff in our code already. What is this? Is there short and sweet? What does this expand upon? What does this add to?
It replaces.
It replaces it, but what is it? What does it change? What is? I mean, it's also
there's
it
a
basically
number of
sounds like,
things.
make sure I'm not missing anything, that any tree,
It prevents clear cutting of
I got,
land,
yeah.
which was not previously limited by ordinance.
Right.
It goes to great extent to push people to put in appropriate trees, not invasive species per se.
And it sounds like if you want to take down a tree on your property, you have to at least reach out, if it's an emergency, make the time to reach out to code enforcement before you do that. What's that?
Attempt to contact
Yeah.
the code enforcement officer or town council and be able to verify that you attempted.
And who's going to maintain the list of preferred trees and invasive species and how often that's going to get updated? Is someone, so I heard about posting it, but is a committee or the APC someone going to respond for keeping that up to date?
Well, we're not going to make an active project out of it. It'll take too much time and energy. We have lists that have been developed by local communities. We've combined those lists and we've reviewed them with experts. And we'll post those. And over time, if people have specific questions about the tree on the list, we'll get an advisement and update it as necessary. But it won't be something that we constantly update. It'll be available on the website for those that need to look at it.
Rich, you had your hand up.
Yeah, the only thing I recall, but I could have missed it, is that under 3-1-13-7, maintenance of trees and/or vegetation, it says the owners of the property are responsible for proper maintenance of all trees and/or vegetation on the entire property, including the property easement. Where are we with this easement? Because in the past, I thought the town was responsible for the trees.
Well, thinking that the town, just a minute, thinking that the town is responsible for the trees was just an assumption that could have been made. We based some of this on information we found in actual Indiana code with regards to growth. We did reading of some of various cases that had taken place. In other words, law that had, I guess, it depended on different areas. But we did look at the Indiana State Code to get some of this information. So figuring that this is something that we would bring and be able to put into our ordinance. So regardless of what may or may not have been assumed here in the town, this is the new step forward to make sure that people are actually maintaining what is in those areas. Now, we know that there are a lot of trees that are older trees, but we also know that property owners plant all kinds of vegetation up to the pavement, for, beautification of their homes and stuff like this. So, so that would mean that anything that's in that area should be maintained, just like whatever new you planted, you should be maintaining anything that was there when you purchased your property. That answers your question.
Not really.
Not really? Well,
So the property owner still owns the property, but it's subject to the town easement, of course. So if the town determines that something is causing, say, a lack of visibility, certainly the town can either remove it or order it removed to maintain their easement. I think what the ordinance is here is kind of saying what Diana was just suggesting, is that where people have intentionally grown vegetation or whatever on the property, it's their duty to maintain that. If they don't, the town can take action because it's in the town's easement.
But my main concern is about the trees that are like 2 feet off the road.
Yeah.
Bob, you know that you've removed some of those trees that have fallen, like right up at the top of the hill on Michiana. Didn't the town take care of that?
Well, we're not talking about the past, Rich.
we're going forward. This is something that's not going to go back to anything that took place. This is going forward. This is the plan that's taking place now. So that whatever we did in the past or did not do, we are changing, and this is why a new ordinance is being put in place. So this is one of those provisions.
So the property owner is responsible for the
For
trees?
maintaining the trees, and if they know that it's a dead tree that could possibly, fall down, or branches could fall down, the property owner should take a look at the trees and should maintain those trees.
And even trees in the easement?
Even the trees that are in the easement, because the easement doesn't belong to us. The easement actually is yours. The only easement that we have is the town has the easement, public utilities have the easement, the state and the county have the easement. We have the rights to do something on the
So
easement.
the easement doesn't grant ownership, it just gives the ability for a party to enter.
Yes,
It's access.
yeah, so.
Public comment, please.
I'm not done yet, Mike.
Yeah, okay, go ahead, Rich.
All right, I have another question.
Okay.
On the part about penalties, 3-1-13-11, it says there could be a penalty, or there will be a penalty of $1,000 for each tree cut down, destroyed, damaged, or removed. Okay, the cut down or...
Without a permit.
But who's to determine whether they were damaged? I guess damaged is the main thing there. Who's to determine that? The code enforcement?
Determine what?
Let's say I have a tree and I cut a branch off of it. So I have, according to maybe the code enforcement officer, I've damaged it without a permit?
No.
You're maintaining
That's
your tree.
performing
Your
maintenance
tree
on the
taking
tree.
out. That's maintenance on the tree. What we're talking about is somebody decided that they have too much shade here, okay? And they want to take down a good, healthy maple or an oak or, or some other tree. So that takes away from part of what makes Michiana Shores, a lovely place to live in. And we want to maintain that greenness so that, as a neighbor mentioned to us once, if you want to take down trees, why didn't you build a house in farmland? Like out in the fields. So this is a gentleman complaining about another neighbor cutting down the tree. So in other words, we want to make sure that our town, if I'm correct, right, that we maintain the green spaces that we have here in town. And we want to encourage the residents to regrow anything that they take down. And I think that this mostly is with regards to just removing a tree that you really don't need to take down. Emergency taking down, you should make notice of something that takes place, right, Sam?
That's right. I mean, there's a path for people to react to an emergency situation, remove the tree without any penalty.
Well, I saw that.
Yeah.
Obviously you had a public hearing at the Plan
Yes, the
Commission?
Plan Commission has been working on this.
Was
for
there
months.
anybody there besides you guys?
Yeah, there were
Yeah.
a few people, and
There were several people. There were 1, 2, 3.
they did make comments.
Yeah.
Were they in favor of this?
There were, actually, there was only one person that made comments about the ordinance per se. Some of the people there were just trying to get the town to cut down trees in their easement. There was unrelated discussion to the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question.
Sure.
Does this permit cost anything?
I don't think we assigned any kind of a fee to it at all. It's just a
Well,
permit.
there wasn't in the ordinance.
No.
So it's just a
It's a
permit?
permit so that, to sort of keep track of what trees are coming down, to encourage people maybe to stop and think that you need to, really consider before you take down a tree and what your next steps will be, which is why it was all, played out, that if you are going to cut it down, to replace it with something, to make sure that, we keep keep the community green and keep it, filled with local growth instead of invasive species.
Well, we're going to vote on this, right?
That would be a vote today, yes, for us. Now,
I'm going to make a statement that I personally I totally think there should be some things that we control about the vegetation. And I discussed this with our lawyer last meeting, a little bit. I just don't think the town has that right to tell me as a property owner what tree I can cut down and what I can't.
Go to improve lots. That's what you have. You have an improved lot. There's no mandate that you cannot take down any tree on your property. All we're asking is that you try to figure out if you can replant.
Do I have to
Yeah,
have
if you
a
have a
permit?
house, you
yeah,
can
If-
cut down the trees.
If it's in your yard,
You don't need a permit
yeah.
it's
You don't
yours.
need a permit, okay.
to.
Well, I've been against this from back when Joe Kellerman was the head of the Plan Commission, and the first years I got involved, we thought about this, and there was a lot of people at that time that were not in favor of it.
Okay, are you done with those? Now, I just wanted to let you know, I know that we have somebody who wants to make a comment, but there was a public hearing time. It was posted, 10 business days, 2 weeks before the plan commission meeting took place. And it was posted in all the notice boards, it was posted up here on the town's window, and it was also posted on the town website. So that, and I believe there was an email that had been sent out to the residents so that they would know that this is taking place. So all the comments were taking place there. Was there something you wanted to add today?
First off, I never received anything when that was put out there 10 days before. But yes.
That's not
That's
factual.
not true. Because
That is not
We're going to
factual.
move on.
I don't think
Mike,
we
Mick,
have
you comment, okay?
have an obligation to hear him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Mick, first of all, the public hearing has taken place. We are allowing you to speak, so please don't make comments about
Okay,
what someone did or
now I'm
didn't do,
trying to move
okay?
on.
We have data
Okay.
that shows when it was posted. Okay.
but we also have the right to have a comment, a public comment at the.
You-
Okay, Mick.
you were given the right.
Here, and we're doing it now. Okay, thank you. All right. I've had 30 years of municipal agriculture with the city of Michigan City. I have written the current ordinance, actually 2 ordinances in Michigan City, development and ordinance similar as this. It has a lot of good thought behind it. Just some things that I've dealt with a lot of the people working the gray areas around here and there. What I have found, and maybe we can add it on in the ordinance as it goes along. I'll work my way down the list. You know, when we talk about replanting trees, we have to put a life cycle on the tree, how long it's going to, that the person who plants it is going to maintain the tree when you first plant it. The tree is very hard to adapt in the new situation for the first year. A lot of people will put them in to satisfy the ordinance, but will leave them to wilt, rot, and die, and then the whole aspect of the tree ordinance has been abandoned because they didn't follow through on their replanting ideas. So I think we need to put a 2-year, the property owner has to have a 2-year guarantee that the tree is going to make it. After a year or 2 years is a good number to use, that, that person has to be responsible for that tree to take off. Okay? That is just one of my notices that I wrote in here.
Okay.
This is after 30 years of doing it in Michigan City. You can attest to it.
Okay.
All right, another one here. We talk about a tree company making a decision. That's a slippery slope, ladies and gentlemen. I think it should be replaced by a certified arborist. Because at the end of the day, if it goes to a court, the judge is going to listen to the certified arborist before he's going to listen to the owner of the tree company.
Did we actually say tree company in the ordinance? Where does it say tree company?
Tree professional.
Tree professional, I think is what it was. And we have,
The tree professional
have-
or a certified arborist, but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you can see where I'm going.
well, we said a tree professional, and we have actually spoken with certified arborists who rank the recommendations for our areas, so keep going.
All right, and I guess the monkey in the room is this easement type of thing. When we go and buy a house and they plug the lot lines in there along the street, these are not property easements, these are more road easements. Now, in certain municipalities, the road easement falls under the maintenance of the city or the towns. Okay, and when we go out there and we do things on that property, we have to get permission, or there's ordinances, like you have ordinances about rocks being in there and, different things that aren't supposed to be in that ordinance. The town is they're taking control of this area. Now, most of the trees that are in question, people didn't plant them. Mother Nature planted them. Unfortunately, they grew on the side of the road. To put that burden on the people for that area that's on the road easement, it's not something that should be dealt with by the property owner. The property owner's stakes are staked 6, 7, 8 feet, everything behind the telephone poles. That's why NIPSCO comes in and they take care of the maintenance of that easement. Easements on the roadside were created a long time ago for easements for gas, electric, cable, and they paid the town franchise fees to use that, and that fees were supposed to pay for the maintenance of those sides of the roads, trees, whatever. I think the policy is that the town has, and it needs to be, the policy needs to be updated. And some of these trees you're asking people to deal with are out of the people's control. Everything else is right within the property lines, the person's property lines. You know, the property line is, back a couple feet. Yes, they are 100% responsible and liable for the trees that are within their state property lines. It's not the people out there killing the trees on the side of the road, it's the environment that the tree is in is going bad. It is a 50-50, it's a slippery slope in there. But when trees grow over property lines and they fall, the property lines go straight up in the air. So the tendency of things happening with dead limb that's going over somebody's property, it can be taken down by the property holder on either side if they come to an agreement, but not necessarily always has to be bared by the property owner himself. Okay, because we have a lot of people like, oh, the next door is too much shade on my property. I'm going to tell this person that they got to cut down the tree. That's, you can't do that.
We appreciate what you said. You've given us, your comments. We're not going to answer one way or the other on it now. But the town, we'll see if the council members have anything to say. I appreciate what you said. We are not going to get into anything where property lines between residences are, we're not handling those at all. That's not our issue. And we're not
Right,
gonna
it's
touch
not our issue.
That part is not.
Our issue
Thank you.
is, I'm still speaking.
No, I said thank you. Thank you for
I
these
have
comments.
30 years of this here.
Thank you.
And nobody ever asked me to come and sit, and I think you had the chance of asking me to come and give my opinion, but you didn't.
I'm sorry, I'm not Plan Commission president. I'm the town council president. Our meetings,
That's why we're here now.
the meetings are open. The meetings are open to the public. These are all public meetings, including Plan Commission meetings. You can come to any single one that you want to a meeting to discuss. This has been going on for a number of months. You didn't come to a single Plan Commission meeting to talk about the trees, as far as I know. The public hearing was posted. The public hearing took place when the determinations and deliberations were going on. It has come to the town council now as an approved document. So I am leaving, I thank you for your comments, and they were very valuable. I like what you said, thank you very much for those. And I think I speak on behalf of anyone else, unless you had other questions you wanted to ask of anyone. So I bring it back now to the council members. And what determination you want to make now at this point. Do you want to move on with proceeding to a vote, or are you going to decide to do something else? And how would you want to vote? Do you want to do it on one reading for approving it, or do you want to go on with, to
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance based on the one reading that does require unanimous agreement.
Okay.
Otherwise, we,
So to suspend, you're making a motion to suspend the rules for second or any additional readings and adopt it on one reading.
yes.
Okay, you made the motion. I need a second for this.
I'll second. I'll second.
All right. All right, now Box moved to approve on first reading, or to suspend,
To
second
suspend.
reading,
Technically, it's a motion to suspend.
to suspend the
That's
second
good-
reading.
That's got to be approved unanimously, and then you can move on to a motion to adopt.
Okay. Second reading, before, what did I say, move to suspend the second reading of the ordinance. And that's it, that should write down for the motion? Okay,
So you're suspending the rules to
a second reading. Okay. I need a second on this motion.
Second.
Stanton? Okay. Sam Paxton seconded this motion. I need a vote, so all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I heard only 4. So are you voting aye, or are you abstaining, or are you saying no? For second reading.
I'm against it.
So I guess that's a name.
Okay,
Okay, so that is a no. So now that means.
I know what, it took a lot of work for this
Yeah.
committee, and I appreciate that. It's just my own personal belief.
That's all
Yeah.
right. You can have a
So that's
second
fine.
reading.
So, okay, so that
So we'll
we
go to a second reading.
have to go to a second reading then. So we can do the second reading today, or you can do the second read, well, we would put it on
Now
until
now
next
you
month.
can do a motion to, through the first reading and move it on to second reading,
Okay,
which doesn't require unanimous, such as requires majority.
all right, okay. All right, so now we have to go through a second motion now. And the second motion is going to ask for approval for the first, on first reading,
And to move it on to second.
and to move it on to the second.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ralph Box, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, Sam Paxton seconded. The motion to approve this first reading and to move on to a second reading. Okay, and I need someone to make the motion, or we have a motion,
Yeah.
sorry, we need to vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Richard, you're still saying it, you're not approving, yours isn't,
So
right? Okay.
Sam's got to read the whole thing again?
No.
Right now. No.
Grab a sip of water, Sam, okay. All right, so
And
now,
well, is the rule changed? We used to be able to just do it by the title only.
You could do that.
we can do
Yeah,
that.
we'll
next
do
time.
that.
We just had that
No,
discussion.
this is gonna make
Yeah.
him stay here for another hour.
So this means we're putting it off until next month then for the second reading? is what it
Yes.
is. Okay, so this will take place, we're moving that to next month. All right.
Which will be read by title only.
Okay, okay. To be read by title only, should we write include it?
No.
All right, we can do that next time around. Okay, thank you very much to everyone on that. That's a lot of work that the plan commission put in, that was months of work that they put into this. And thank you, Sam, for spearheading this, because you, and Ralph, or
And Ralph,
you're set,
yeah.
you know, you guys, I think, worked
did
on
most
this
of it.
together. You know,
Dinah.
so thank you very much. Yeah, Rich.
What? You know, I brought up that there's nothing about a fee. Do we need to state on this that there is no fee for this permit?
Well, the permit form was, we should state there's no
Well,
fee.
no, there's no fee mentioned in it, so
Yeah, there's no
I think
fee
you'd have a hard time trying to enforce a fee
Yeah,
with nothing.
Okay.
and the permit.
It was
form
totally
did not have
discussed
anything.
in the plan commission meetings, and it was decided no fee would be required. So that's why it's not mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to the reports. Police Chief Mark Swistek.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of March, the Long Beach Police Department responded to 414 calls for service when compared to 417 in the previous year, for a slight decrease of 3 calls for service. During the month, 16 incident reports were documented and a total of 15 individuals were arrested. Specific to the town of Michiana Shores, on Sunday, March 30th, which was the day that we had the severe storms, we had a vehicle that was a rollover crash right out here on Old Grand Beach Road. A 60-year-old male from the town of Michiana Shores was found to be operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated and was arrested and cited for misdemeanor operating a motor vehicle while intoxicated. I appreciate the communications I received from Councilman Paxton and President Dumbriz yesterday in reference to the communications that you received about the traffic concerns here in the town. We started already this morning doing some traffic enforcement. The areas that you did cite, we've already written tickets over here at El Portal at Grand Beach Road. An individual ran a stop sign this morning, and then on Michiana Drive, and then tonight on my way to the meeting, Deputy Disbro was in front of Stop 50 Pizza and was issuing some tickets along El Portal as well. Just yesterday, we ordered a LiDAR, which is a light detection and ranging speed gun. It's a laser speed gun. What it does is it shoots out infrared light to a vehicle and then bounces back to the radar gun, and it allows us to to be in a stationary position, so we can kind of be tucked away, we don't have to be moving around. We can range up to about 4,000 feet. We should have this device in the next couple of weeks, and so we'll use that for our traffic enforcement as well. But again, I appreciate the feedback from both of you with the concerns, and we'll make sure we get those addressed for you.
Great,
Thank you, Chief.
Just a minute, Chief, I was going to ask, and someone else may have a question too. Did anybody else have a question or comment for the chief? I was just wondering, because I have been asked again, by residents, how come we don't have a stop sign that goes, or two stop signs, over at this intersection with the T intersection, the old Grand Beach Road
Over
and the
here.
South Portal, that perhaps we need to actually have two stop signs, at that intersection.
I
So,
want to say Chief Solkowski can help with that. Didn't Michigan City look at that?
They did a study on it.
I think previously they did a study on that. 'Cause
I remember them doing the study, and according to that, we didn't have any cars go through here either, so.
So we talked about this a year or so ago, and of course, that's a Michigan City stop sign out here. What would it take for us to get them to put in one of those stop signs with lights around it, like you have in Long Beach? Solar powered. I know there's an expense there, but
Sure.
that would be one place that I would anticipate would be good use of that.
I would recommend that you draft a letter to their Board of Works and Public Safety, because that would be the board that would approve it, maybe starting with their street superintendent,
Okay.
Sean Smith,
Okay.
and then also the traffic division commander for the Michigan City Police Department is Captain Greg Jesse.
Okay.
Captain Jesse can probably assist. I can connect you with him as well. Because it is a cost. I think we paid roughly about $2,000 a sign for those LED stop signs. Then you got to change the batteries out every 2 years, something like that. So,
Okay, good, thanks. I'll
Thank you.
follow up.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to the next report. That would be fire chief. And Gary Bendix is not here. Bob, are you giving the fire chief's report or no? Okay, well, I shared it with the council members, sent that off to them. If somebody has it, I don't know if you need to have it read publicly or if it's available anywhere else by the fire department publicly. I'm not sure.
Pancake
But-
breakfast is May 4th.
I'm sorry?
Pancake breakfast is May 4th.
Yes, we have that actually listed on the calendar.
Can I read it?
Sure, please.
Cool, I can be the fire department for one day. The fire department activity report for the month of March 2025. I can't do an impression of Gary, but maybe I can do a speaking place. 136.52 hours were spent during the month by your firefighters, either on calls for training at home and away, meetings at home, and public relations. They had 4 meetings, no special trainings, and they had 17 calls for attention. It looks like they were all over the town.
All over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
They've
read all
got a
of them.
breakdown, I think, of it.
They had, there it is, Michiana Shores had 2 fires, 5 first responders, Michiana had 1 fire, 2 responders, Julian Beach had 4 fires and 1 responders, and mutual aid was 1 fire and 1 responder, 1 response. It doesn't say who the mutual aid was with, but you guys probably know.
Okay, and give the ad about the pancake breakfast.
And yes, the pancake breakfast is Sunday, May 4th.
Correct.
Yes.
Right, yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. All right, building commissioner, code enforcement officer. Pardon?
But
I'm sorry.
pancake breakfast, I don't think ticket prices are changing, but let me know if they do, because then I want to update the website. Okay.
Yes, they did change.
They did?
Yes,
Oh,
it
okay.
is now $10.
That's what they have.
Everything else is.
I think they, let me see. I think they are.
Okay, we could check that out. We're gonna go ahead with the.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So building commissioner, code enforcement, Brian Alexander.
Okay, I have the report here.
Oops.
Fine.
Here's the report. You can pass it over.
Okay, Brian, stand closer so that we can catch you on the.
Okay, there were 3 building permits issued for residential roofing, and those have been completed. Building permits in process, we have addition at 3851 Brookside, addition for 103 Shadow Trail and 305 Sunset Trail. All three of those need to go through the BZA. And there's a basement remodeling and adding a bathroom for 311 Sunset Trail, which I will be contacting the owner for the fees, and they should have that in, we can get that going. STR renewals completed was 210 Sunset was completed, 10 Powhatan was completed, and 3821 Hiawatha was completed. The STR application process was 3938 Brookside from Michelle Vincier. For code enforcement activities, I was asked to investigate the pool fence status at 3841 Oakton. I inspected the property on April 4th with the owner present. The pool has a lockable pool cover in place, so no access to the pool is available to outsiders. There is a 4-foot high wire live stick fence installed on the east side. In addition to this, there's a wire trellis which is only for vines and does not act as a fence on the east and north side. On the west and north side, there is a 4-foot high concrete block fence. According to the owner, Deb Chubb asked that this height fence be raised 2 blocks to make it 4 feet, and that was done. There's also a 6-foot wood section temporarily set to the side for generator access, which will be put back in place. The owner said the present fencing arrangement was inspected and approved by Deb Chubb, and I agreed that the pool is properly fenced in and protected from outsiders during my inspection. I also inspected 318 Pokagon on April 1st and April 4th. The property was inspected for construction activity as there's a large dumpster in the driveway and with construction debris and a portable toilet. I inspected the work and it seems it goes beyond decorating and involves removal of flooring materials and drywall on the lower level. I left a note stating that they need to stop the work until a building permit has been issued and gave instructions for applying for a permit. When I went back on April 4th, the note was gone. Supposedly they got it and a portable toilet was removed. As of this date, I have not received the building permit and will continue to monitor it to remind owners that they will be issued a fine if the work continues without a building permit. On 809 Michiana, I investigated a complaint from a resident that a fence is being built without code compliancy. I inspected the property on March 28th and found that the building permit was issued for the fence, number 863, stating that the existing fence was to be rebuilt. I measured the fence and it is 6 feet in height. The address for the property should be listed as 3809 Pontiac as a house fronts on Pontiac with Michiana on the side. Thus, the fence in question is a side fence and does not face the front. Since it is also fenced to replace an existing fence, I didn't have an objection with the installation.
Okay, thank you very much for your report.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, thank you.
Can you send this to us via email too, please?
Thank you. Okay, did any council members have questions on anything or all good?
I'm good.
Okay, then let's look at if that's okay, then we're gonna move on to the park board. Jean Paxton, please.
Our first meeting was Monday, March 24th. The work on the tennis court / pickleball court will begin in May with completion by Memorial Day, culminating in a pickleball tournament. Surfayscapes, Terry Bright attended the meeting. Terry is the grounds manager for Surfayscape. We discussed the commencing of services, which will start soon. The town cleanup is May 3rd. Some of us started early due to not being able to be around that day. I found a broken car on Airbnb. Thank you to a good Samaritan, Isaiah DeCaro, who stopped and offered to haul off the big bags of garbage. So I thought that was very sweet. One goal at cleanup day is to remove the timbers around the Leeds Park volleyball court.
we're going to just put grass in there or something else. Booster News, June 6th and 7th, we're having a garage sale that'll directly benefit the parks. We're taking donations of nice stuff for that sale. July 5th, Art for Park's Sake is another fundraiser directly supporting the parks. And that'll be an art show, silent auction at Dune Summer Theater,
What was the date on that one?
July 5th.
Oh, okay.
The next big project for the park board and boosters will be working toward getting 2 new pieces of playground equipment for 2026. And lastly, I want to recognize publicly 2 young, amazing volunteers that are helping tons in town, Nick and Kylie Solkowski. That's it.
Awesome, thank you very much.
And can you email your report to the town council as well, please?
I guess.
Jane,
Yes.
you didn't say where the garage sale is.
Well, it's kind of yet to be determined. It'll be either out here or wherever the firemen will allow us to have it around these parts.
Okay, cool, thank you. For both of the reports. Road Commissioner, Bob Slukowski.
No report.
All right, thank you. But maybe it'll still snow tomorrow, so. Shh. I just want to make him feel good, so. Anyway, Advisory Plan Commission, Isaac Zekel, did Isaac come on board maybe? No?
No, he's not at the meeting. All that transpired was we had the public meeting concerning the tree ordinance, and then the plan commission discussed it and voted to pass it to the town council.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. I don't think there's anything from Andrew Bertocchini, I'm sorry, as to the floodplain. Probably nothing to report on that. BZA, Matt Bowen, has not sent anything through. However, he did tell me via phone call right after the meeting took place that they did have one petitioner for the special use grant, but it turns out that this person claims now that the home here in Michiana is their permanent resident, or their full-time resident. So that's what he had let me know about. White Ditch Drainage Board, I was at the meeting today, so the only time the Michiana Shores name came up is when the president of the board was using us as an example of just in case some kind of work would have to take place and somebody would not take our money, we would use it, you know. So that was about it. Because I always go, they're always afraid that they're going to come up with something new. However, they did say that there is a move, I think, Brad, if I'm correct, that it's a state, it's supposed to be countywide or statewide, that new, potentially new assessments on the drainage, for the drainage ditches, but that's still not in place, correct?
It's not in place. No.
Okay.
So the board is looking at potentially doing, well, like what Porter County did, a stormwater county maintenance, basically.
Okay.
I don't think that's the direction they're going to go based on the conversation today, so.
Okay. But those are the news from today from White Ditch. Website, Samantha?
The website is chugging along. We had a big boost of activity on the website last month, but it's looking for a bot. Came for like 1 day. We looked around and left, so it was obvious it was a bot. You could see where the traffic was coming from, and it's normal. And you can tell when you've got traffic, but no one stays on the site very long, because most people come to the site looking for information, and they stay for, a few seconds or up to a minute, but when they just come and leave, it's a bot. So it was like, oh, no, actually, that wasn't real. But still, and interestingly, we have our traffic lately has been more desktop than mobile. Maybe it's all of us going to the site, frankly, when we're looking things up when we're working. It's been up a few days. In the top 10 pages, we have a new player this month. The garlic mustard has been replaced. It's not popular anymore, but we have another post based on the work the Save the Forest folks have done over the last year, removing invasive species and the tree ordinance, and we created a post about the invasive oriental bittersweet Yeah, that's a big problem in our Woods and Michiana Shores. We go post and it made it to the top 10, so. And the number 10 page, what rounded out the top 10 this last month was the whole page about the tree ordinance with all the information and the links. So people were really going to that as well.
Okay.
So that's, it was all about trees and invasive plants this month on the website.
All right, thank you very much. NERC, with regards to NERC, there is nothing new to report. They did not have another meeting, but NERC is going to have, where did I write myself another note? NERC is doing a workshop. It's called the Sensible Tools Workshop, and it's going to take place April 28th at the NERC facilities, and it's going to address planning and development and what we can do to, to work reasonably with regards to sustainability and so forth. So I did forward that to the Plan Commission members. I believe, I think I may have sent it to the council members. I don't remember now. But, just out of interest. So that was something that just came through today for that invitation. Okay, let's move into unfinished business. Setting a public meeting for April 21st regarding the purchase of a new truck for the town. So that's a date that had been suggested by Sam to us, and this had to be, would you like to go into this, Sam, about our public meeting?
Yeah, we just need to advertise it in
Okay,
in a newspaper,
All right.
no later than April 11th in order to meet the 10-day window.
Okay.
We need to notify.
and we already
So-
have all the information we need to post?
I don't.
Yes, Susan Cowan provided the language for
Okay.
the posting.
Did you
You can ask the clerk treasurer if she's
Joan, did
you
you?
share with? I didn't-
contacted a newspaper or not.
Okay.
This is the first I've heard of it.
No, Joan, you were included on the emails. You were on all
The
of
first you've heard of it.
No, she was talking about what I received, talking about dates, but I didn't realize what the dates were for.
okay.
I'm not a mind reader.
Joan.
Well, Joan, you were on that entire string of emails, but we can resend all of those so you would have those. So, and the posting would have to be, I guess, by the 11th. So today's the 8th, 11th is what?
I'll do it. I'll take control of that and I'll reach out to the newspaper and
Okay,
make sure it gets done. Because
Right.
honestly, after this comment, I don't have any faith that it's going to get done.
It's always been done as long as I have the information.
You
If
have the
Susan
information.
sent it-
Susan
usually
Collins
does.
sent it to you 3 or 4 days ago.
okay, it came through last week already, I know, like maybe on Thursday, something like that. So thank you, so let's check up on that and make sure, okay, Sam? We'll follow up with Joan and, maybe you can even reach out to the newspaper and find out about the posting. Let's go on to the, that's all we need for that one, right, for that meeting? For the 21st, that's all we're.
We have time.
Pardon?
We need a time.
Oh, a time, okay, there we go, we don't have a time, so.
Do we, yeah. Sam, do we need any, do we need any, last time we put a blurb pursuant to a certain ordinance or act, we need to add any other legal language
Yeah.
on the statement for the meeting?
Well, that was, when we do the executive session, we do something, but this would be a special meeting, so.
We don't
have-
need that?
No, we still have to state what we're doing, what we're gonna be.
No, he does have that, but we usually have this, like, mention the code of ordinance, I didn't know if that had to be on there. Okay.
No, because that was for executive session.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see, the calendar here.
I assumed it'd be like could it be at 7
Kind
p.m.?
of see it.
What did you say?
Can it be at 7
You know
p.m.?
what, Ralph?
Sure.
Okay, that's fine.
So I've already blocked it off the calendar.
All right, excellent, 7 PM?
To get on the train and be home by then.
Okay,
That's what
For
I put out there was
publications,
7.
The newspaper usually needs a 4-day lead, so you might be pushing it on the.
Right. That's why we
okay.
moved so
I'll
quickly to
contact
get, Susan did it before she,
usually does that.
I'm just saying that to say you might want to have a backup date decided upon in case you can't get the 21st.
So you want to go for April 21st?
Well, let's go for April 21st, and then, maybe we can check out, Sam, if you could resend those emails, then I know it's another chore for
You
you.
just resent it, yes.
Okay.
I'll contact Susan, she would have all the information, because she always gives me that information for posting on the newspaper.
Yes, she prepared, and had she said there's another colleague of hers who finished something up for her and then forwarded it all. I don't know, it was at least, Wednesday or Thursday, when this took place last week,
Nice.
okay?
Yeah, she's in.
she created it on April 4th.
April 4th, okay.
That was just last week.
Okay,
And Joan, you received it from Susan Cowan directly.
okay.
I'll check it.
Okay, do we have anything else on it? So we said 7 PM on the 21st, hopefully, if that works out, okay? And if it doesn't work out for that day, as Brad said, what would be the next date that we could do this? Can we do the 22nd if we need to do this?
Yeah, I mean, working backwards, you gotta have 10 days notice published, and usually we're talking 2 weeks, because you're doing Herald Dispatch or the, yeah, I mean, that's, whenever we do publications for, you know, whether it's a BZA appearance or whatever, they requested 14 days. So they can publish it 10 days.
Oh, the newspaper requires
The newspaper,
14 days.
right, but I'm not saying that's their strict deadline, but that's what we go on.
Okay,
I'm not going to be involved in the setting of the next date.
okay, all right. Okay, if we can move from that, then I'm gonna go on to new business. And Samantha asked that we add on, and I'm glad she did, to remind me the codification of the town code, to bring it up to date. Now Samantha's, been researching this, for some time, and did some work. She shared the information with all the town council members.
This is for Rich. That's the one, Rich. Rich, there's a third piece I did not print out because it's 48 pages where it's an example. They just sent an example of the kind of feedback they give. If you want to print out like 5 or 10 pages, I'm happy to do it. I wasn't going to print out the
You have
whole
48
thing.
sheets.
I don't think I got. Actually, here, we can look at this. This is, I printed off 10 pages. But I did email it to everyone else.
Yes.
So codification is something that I think we're overdue in the town of Michiana Shores. Companies will come in and take your municipal code, all the ordinances that have been written and created and approved since the last time you codified, and take and create one new revised municipal code. At that time, they also run through, compare your code to Indiana state law to make sure nothing conflicts. They look at your code and make sure you haven't conflicted, having duplicates and things that aren't clear and things that contradict. And they basically clean up your municipal code, give you a brand new municipal code that's in order. They also give you a web version of it that you can put on your website that's searchable and easily referenceable, and they host that, and then you can then contract with them in the future to make updates to your written code or to the digital code, and they will host that for you. Long Beach uses this particular company, so there's Valpo and Walkerton and other cities around it. Yeah, Michiana has a different service than theirs, but it makes your code compliant, up to date, easy to reference, easy to use, makes it easy for people that look up questions and get answers without getting frustrated and can't find the ordinance and things like that. They have, we first talked about this last year, and we got some proposals from last year. I had them give us a new contract for this year. The prices have not changed. You can spread the cost over 2 years, and we're used to working with small towns, and they know how it works. What kind of questions do you have around this?
Well, all of my questions are very, very specific, so I
Yeah.
won't go into those now. But I would recommend that we put up a committee, and it'll be a long-term committee, because the contract basically states if you start now, it'll be 9 months before they're done, give or take. But so it's probably a year before this is complete, maybe longer than that, because who knows what happens when the old ordinances that aren't in electronic form and go through that process. So I suggest that we have a side group that kind of works on this and provides reports to the town council along the way.
I think it's a great idea.
That's a good idea. Sam, any questions from you? Rich, any questions about codification? Joan, any questions from you on codification?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I suggest that we find out approximate cost so we can get it
It's
in
in
the
here,
budget.
$4,800, and we have it in the budget. We put it in the budget this year.
That's what I'm talking about, is
We have
make
it.
sure it's in the budget instead of throwing it at me.
It is in the budget.
Yeah,
Thank
the cost is $5,000 for the first time, and I think there's an annual fee of around $500.
Yeah.
But that's like a web fee. And then there's a.
It's a web what?
It's a fee for hosting the document online. And then there's a fee of 10, 15, 20 bucks a page when you add a new ordinance in. But we don't really create that many new ordinances in a year with that many pages, so that's never going to be a significant cost.
If you look in the, I sent you the contract note and also the, their little, some color version, this version calls out the cost pretty simply, and that's what we use to put it in the budget for this year. So the $4,800 is that, you can split over 2 years, and then after it's, the year after it launches, then you start paying the $500 annually for the web version. So that's in the documents that I shared.
400 to 500 annually?
$495. And, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
So do we need to make a motion, or do you want us to go and create a committee and start looking at it?
Well, since we're not, we're not signing the contract tonight, so I don't think we need a motion. I think it was enough. Ralph made the suggestion. We agreed that it's a good idea. You may want to ask right now if somebody wants to be on this committee or not. And, figure out who, okay, Ralph's going to be on the committee.
I kind of figured that.
Okay, and then we can see on adding somebody else within, even if there's somebody in the town, they can participate in working on the committee, and stuff like this, but they will never be voting on it, here in the council, so, okay? All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Samantha, that's a big job there. Attorney report.
Wait, we,
Oh, you're not done, I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry,
the
Brenda.
other item we added in, we wanted to come back and do business and have it in the minutes, that we need to follow up, maybe this goes in the attorney report, but do we need to redistrict or recertify that we're not
yes.
districting by June? And Brad's going to follow up on that, so I want to.
Okay, that's a great transition, actually, for
I know.
the report.
Yeah.
As Sam was reading the ordinance, I pulled up the.
Oh, yeah.
So, a couple of questions from you guys, and then I can probably give you the answer tonight. So, when you are at large, you're all individually at large, so you aren't required to live in a residential area specifically, like any position.
No.
So, you don't have residential districts then, so that means you're generally voted at large, so the one person, one vote is met, and you do not need to redistrict. You're part of the 41% of towns that are of a size and at large that don't need to do the redistricting.
So with regards to the request that we recertify, what is that
You don't have a district voting.
So we don't need
there's
to
another
recertify.
two. Right, so
We should.
where that comes from is the every 10 year they do a census basically, and then based on the census results, you may need to redistrict to make sure that you don't have an overpopulated area versus an underpopulated area. That's not an impact on you because everybody in the town votes for all 5 of you, and you're not, even the 5 seats aren't limited to specific areas.
Too bad they don't use.
So we don't have to recertify?
No.
That's awesome.
Too bad we don't do that in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming.
So that's that. There were a couple other things to follow up on, and then I could give
Please.
email responses too, so something in
Okay.
writing. But one was from Ralph on a sign ordinance question. I think if you want an opinion right now, you're probably safe with what your concerns are, but also reading through the ordinance, I think it may be appropriate to revisit that and address some gray areas where the concerns come from.
So should I have a conversation with you and then
And
I'll
then
bring
take
that
it from
forward?
there. Yeah,
Okay.
that's going to be my email to you, and I'll point out like the areas that I see of potential concern.
That's fair.
And then go from there. Another thing that Sam asked me about, and we had brought up at the last meeting, was establishing a maintenance fund. So that there is room to do that, or ability to do that. I've talked with Long Beach, not on a road maintenance, but I talked with their council as far as what they've set up with fees and how they've gone through the process. It's a little more clear if you have an established fee for what that's going to be, as opposed to just a budget item for the town. So like a garbage removal where you hire a service company that does that, then we can certainly establish a fee that way. So my question for you is, you asked specifically about trees or road maintenance. Would there be a contracted service that the town would be engaging in, and that's what we would establish it
No,
based on?
this is all performed by the road committee.
And we have, the refuse pickup is already handled.
Right, not refuse, so it's the roads and the trees, basically. And then it's done by a municipal employee. So that, I'll need to look a little closer at that.
Yeah.
Because if it were contracted service, yes,
Right,
we could draft the ordinance.
right.
But since it's done as part of basically.
Yeah, we're just kind of-
Budget.
In anticipation of what's happening in the Indiana State
Yeah. And that's,
House, there's going to be some budget constraints.
there's going to be budget constraints, and I mentioned this with the drainage board this morning. One of the concerns that comes up with it too is even maybe something like this, it would, if it has to go through a referendum, they're going to restrict when you can do referendums. So one of the proposed bills is that referendums can only happen in the years of general election, so that the more people participate, because nobody shows up in an off, or fewer people show up in an off election. So they want to make sure that if you're raising fees or raising taxes, that you have a voting population in support of that. So, things to keep an eye on. On the litigation aspect of things, we do have a court date on the couple that are pending out there, May 26th. I can follow up with Dinah on that.
Okay.
We'll have a meeting. You guys will have a meeting before then anyhow, but at this point, I don't anticipate that you would need to be there for those. Those are scheduling hearings.
Okay.
But if that changes, I'll let you know. And then we did get one new collection file tonight. So it's like the last demand letter from the town went out March 31st, so you can follow up on that.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one more question for you, Brett.
Yep.
I heard about this last year, followed up with it, and the state of Indiana updated the rules about hybrid meetings and requirements thereof. And it's clear that for these kinds of meetings, town government meetings, they, as of June or July of this year, they're required, and there's some stipulations. But I couldn't confirm in reading the thing whether it's required for things like a plan commission or even a BZA. It was unclear in that regard. And we need to know, because this is the only time we really do hybrid meetings. We'll do them on the odd chance in the plan commission, very occasionally. And it'll probably require additional expenditures on our end for
Sure.
that.
I know for the municipal boards, the requirements there. I'll have to look in to see whether that's required for the BZA.
Does that mean park board as well?
No, the town council is what I was saying.
Okay.
I looked at that too.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so not a huge deal, I just thought I should get that going.
Thank you.
If I could mention something, someone asked me if the BZA meetings were on Zoom, and I told them that they weren't. So if there's a change in that, let me know now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so if nothing else right now for Brad, let's move on. Miscellaneous business, spring leaf pickup date.
May 5th, that week.
Okay.
They'll
Week
probably
of
start
May.
middle of the
Okay.
week, but yeah.
But we're not going to publish anything about the middle speech. We're saying.
No, it's starting May 5th.
All right.
Monday, May 5th.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always recommended that, we tell people to get it ready by the day before the 4th,
Yes.
so that, then they know. Okay.
It's up on the
For sure.
website and
Yeah. Excellent,
it will
okay,
go out and email to everyone
Okay.
shortly.
We're posted here and in the signboards as well.
okay, yeah. All right, thank you. Then, town cleanup is scheduled, we heard on May 3rd. Thank you very
And
much.
if you guys have a blurb or something, you can send me about town cleanup, I want to put it in the email this week. Thank you.
Okay, very good, thank you. Now I move on to communications received. I don't know if there's anything within the office that Joan has received, anything else, or anyone else, but I received several things. One of the communications, of course, was about the Chief Swistek address, and that was about people ignoring the stop sign at Old Grand Beach Road and Old Portal. So we've already got someone who was stopped, I guess ticketed for actually running that stop sign, so that's a good thing. And we addressed as well an issue another gentleman complained about was speeding on Michiana Drive, where people coming down the hill heading east from the top, where it, goes over the crest as it's heading farther down that they begin to put on gas, and then it's, a little bit dangerous over there. This particular resident has a home right there on Michiana Drive, so he exits out into the street. And then I've had people who walk around the corner just because they're walking, and then they come across around Brookside into Michiana Drive, our town residents. As they're walking, they're saying sometimes they go by so fast that if you've got a small child or you're with a dog, you're afraid that, they may get hit because people are moving quickly. So those are communications I received. And then I did get some phone calls regarding uncollected recycled items on April 1st. So I don't know, maybe somebody else over here knows too. I know they missed homes on our portal on the west side, because I got 3 calls about those, and then there were some on Oakland, they said. So unless anybody in your neighborhood,
Dinah, they were 3 days late, but they did pick up the recycling.
did they pick those up? Okay,
Because of the storm
They came
and
back.
everything like that.
okay, because I
Monday
called,
and
yeah.
Tuesday, they were here Wednesday.
Okay, good, because I called in to, after these people called me on Tuesday afternoon, so then I called in, so thank you very much, that's a good thing to know. All right, so that's it for public comments that I heard about now. Not public comments, I'm sorry, communications received. Any more public comments? Anyone? No. Okay, council comments. Councilors, please.
I have just a quick update from the state activity down in Indianapolis and the potential bills that were or are going to potentially impact Michiana Shores. House Bill 1461, which is concerning the roads. I received a call from our Representative Pat Boyd's office, and I was told that good news on HB 1461, which would have required any community applying for community crossing grants would have to have a wheel tax, and the state law on wheel taxes, you must have a minimum of 5,000 residents, which clearly would disqualify us. That has been removed, and that as written today, it's not finalized, it could change, but the matching grant will remain the same as it has been for small communities. So
That's good news.
yeah, that's good news. And then the general property tax bill, which was started in the Senate Bill 1. It's the governor's mission to try to cut property taxes, much to the dismay of a lot of small communities, small and large communities. We've seen it through AIM Communications. It's now going to, it looks like as it's written today, is that every single property owner in the state of Indiana will get a $200, maximum of a $200 credit in property taxes next year. And they're talking about phasing in an increase in the homestead deduction to 2/3 of the home's assessed value by 2031. Now, on the other side of that is the law as the bill as it's written today is also going to allow counties to pass an increase in taxes to offset the decrease in property taxes. So
Local tax.
it's total political optics for the
Okay, thank you
governor.
very much, Sam. That's
Yeah.
Good, thank you very much for that info. Any other council comments? If there are no other comments, then I will ask for a motion. Okay, Samantha. All right, and I am closing this meeting, adjourning this meeting. It is now 8:44 p.m. Thank you very much to everyone for participating.